All right, it's time to do a little bit of housekeeping and house cleaning around here, as well as moving a few things around and doing some more stuff with some technology we've had for a little bit and haven't touched. Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. Welcome back to Captain of Industry. Last time we got pretty much all the way down to the end of where we can actually do research at this point, so I think we are sitting right about here. We had researched all the stuff that is required to get to the Research Lab 3 and the Research Lab part stuff here. We got the electronics built, electronics 2 built, and we are currently kind of working through some other little things. I've been a little busy in between episodes trying to get a few things built and sorted out and, well, at least upgraded, kind of. We've had the Concrete Maker Mark II for Concrete Mixer Mark II for quite a while, as well as the Rotary Kiln gas, the ones that use gas, the one that use gas products to do their work. So I went ahead and rebuilt concrete. We removed all of the stuff that was over here, added in a couple of the large crushers. We're not exactly as full as I'd like to be, at least on the, the manufactured sand, but as soon as we get to a little bit more technology that will be coming up fairly shortly, we're going to be ripping out the glass and moving it probably along in line here. We're going to get some new glass makers fairly soon, so once we do that, we'll be able to add in the rest of the production here. So I do have it kind of set up, especially, well, at least in case we run out of slag, because I kind of accidentally did that a little bit ago, just making the roads and a few other things that we've got going on. And yes, there's something over there we'll go take a look at in just a second. But I ended up running out of slag, so I had to kind of rejig the old system to run off of the, what is this, gravel, which is pretty simple. And now at least this way we can run it automatically through a load balancer sorting kind of system thingy, whatever. I have 4 of the kilns down here, even though we only need 2 theoretically to keep these running. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm running 2 on hydrogen and 2 on fuel gas. I went ahead and stuck a fuel gas container over here and decided we would try to start keeping at least one of these taller storages, it's fluid storage 2, full of it between these 2, just that way we have something else to burn should we need it for our trash. I expect to be having a problem with hydrogen fairly soon. So that way we can just kind of convert this one over to fuel gas should we need to when the time comes. And this barely trickles on things. I mean, it barely eats anything at all. And we did get something in the last episode that will allow us to do a little bit of fun. And we'll maybe work on that today, maybe work on that Friday. I don't know how it's going. I've also started to do the thing that you do, which is I've started to store up large amounts of sulfur because we have unlocked a few things and we will get to them. In the contracts, we finally have some fun sulfur stuff, which is why I like to do these. We have an exact exchange for 1,000 sulfur for 1,000 coal. That is amazing. And we have a 500 to 150,000 or 1,500, sludge exchange, which is kind of an interesting one because you can basically directly take the sulfur and turn it into dirt and fuel gas, which you can then, well, burn in machines or burn in something else. So this is a byproduct and it's a waste product, but we will be using it in, well, there's actually, I think there's going to be a third one coming up fairly soon when I figure out where it's at out on the map to uncover. That will be even more fun. But we've hit the loop. This, I believe the map is fairly similar across everything as far as what it looks like every single time you do this. And I do recall this loop coming through here almost every single time, plus there's going to be a couple of other things out here. But we've kind of done a little bit of searching around, wandering around. We're hitting a point right now, we're hitting 900s and 610. I don't think I can take a 610 right now. I think I've got all of the things done. Yeah, we're at the level now where the ship is going to need an upgrade to get through to the next layer. I think we've got everybody figured out. So all I have been doing is just making sure that all of our new friends are up, and I finally got the research that I wanted that's going to allow me to kind of cheese around a couple of things, which is kind of nice. Once you get this gold into this microchip trade, that will help out considerably when you're trying to move forward, which is what we're going to probably try to do a little bit today. Furthermore, I have been slowly filling the hole in where the iron is going, and I think I need to tell these guys again. Did you guys come up there and... Oh, we're doing the dumb. We're always doing the dumb. Can you stop doing the dumb, please? Stop it. Thank you. Let them fill the hole in. It's fine. It's okay. We're filling the hole in. We need this hole filled in. I wish somebody would come up here and actually, take care of that rock, but it's fine. We'll be okay. You guys have a little bit more digging to do. That's why they got excited. Okay, as soon as they're done with that, here, just stop. Go up here and take care of that rock before we move on, because I'd like to kind of at least keep this area flat, considering that, well, that whole entire thing was like clear back here when we started. I think it's even further back here. It's somewhere right around in this area where we're sitting right now, which is nice. But anyhow, as we notice, there's no ore sorting plant here anymore. I've removed it because I decided I was going to start playing with the large ones, and I'm going to start doing, well, what we would consider as large amounts of storage. And I have a bit of coal that I need to stop, so you guys stop doing that. Thank you. And we should be okay there. Did we back this up completely? They almost did. Good deal. That's what I wanted to see. And you guys can pause too. Essentially what I'm doing with these right now is I stuck a large ore sorting plant down, and we're in trouble because our coal and our sand is full. We're not necessarily in trouble. I can just do this and this and have them build both of those and then adjust some settings. And nope, and nope. And then they'll build both of those, and we'll go ahead and just unity them down so that we have things to do. They'll bring us all the little parts, and then they'll be good. Cool, and then we won't have a problem. I'm not paying attention to my things. I really probably should adjust a setting or two, which is fine, but it is okay, and we'll be fine. They'll be able to sort all that out and play around. But I have been messing with this because this thing can really rock through a considerable amount of stuff. And, well, I figured there's no reason to be running 6 of them, or like say four or five. Well, there was like 4 of them right here in this general area. So I went ahead and put down one of the big ones and then told everybody come over here to take care of this. And now I will have to babysit this row back here to make sure that we at least do not fill everything up completely. But I can at least, again, we'll just do this kind of a deal. We'll just pause them. They won't be able to do anything. I've got alarms set for the second row or the third row in these that will let me know when I need to go, and I just need to be able to pay attention to what I'm doing. All right, you guys, did you clean up that hill? Thank you very much. It's been annoying. Good. Now you're allowed to dig back into this thing, and we can go on from there. Let's see. Where are we? We need mining designation. And I've just been trying to scrape all of the iron out of these hills because there is a large amount of iron in those hills. So we'll do that. And I don't think there's much left in that hill as far as this goes. There might be a little bit back here. They can kind of, I guess, work on, just do a little bit of that. I think maybe to there, and we'll see what that looks like. There's just a little bit in that hill. I'm going to have to dig this direction fairly soon because we do have a little bit of iron right in here, which means I'm going to lose my road for a little bit. We're at least past where the smelting of all of the important stuff is done, so we can move on with whatever else we need to do. Let's clean up the mess. Kind of nice to have all this flat surface out here and, all this goodness. We're still continuing over here, digging this direction, and our trees are, well, they're slowly going away. We're actually to the gold, which is good because I needed to get over here to get started at trying to find that stuff. And yeah, we're just going to have to keep digging and messing around. Once we get the majority of those trees cut down, I've already got it ready to go. I have built a tree farm plantation thingy right here with its own tree farm that is producing saplings. So that way we've got all of the saplings taken care of right here. There's a nice big water patch right here. I figured that would be a good spot. We'll just put those down, and then they can work on digging through this area for the time being. Then once we get all that sorted, we'll move a storage container or two over here, and then again have a little trucking route that heads things this direction. So should be doing reasonably well, hopefully. The other reason why I kind of did this is eventually we will be able to run a large line of feeder belts from these all the way over to here to get rid of some of the truck traffic. And I don't know whether I'm going to do that or not right now, today or tomorrow. Whenever we decide to do this, it's going to be a bit, but it will at least alleviate a little bit of the truck traffic. Each of these do have at least, I think, up to 4 trucks assigned, as well as they have the accept assigned only thingy off in case something silly happens. So let's see. Sort. We had a whole bunch of stuff. Finish it. We should be good there. Okay, cool. I think as far as everything else goes, that's all I've done recently other than to just upgrade a few of these. I did go ahead and turn on the third row of the refining and added in another one of these, excuse me, cracking units. We should be all right as far as everything else is going over here. And I did leave this one for now just because that's a long way for these guys to truck. Well, that's actually quite a long ways to truck the limestone, so no big deal there. We'll be fine. Anyhow, on to the next thing that we need to be looking at, which is, how are we doing real quick? We're almost empty out of those. Nice. Finally, that's taken forever. I have since ripped out all of the labs that we have, and I've started to lay down the next layer of the lab equipment Mark 3s, Part 3s, whatever you want to do. And we're going to need to kind of start figuring out how we want to do this. I do want to pause, and then unpause this stuff so that those can get to work. And I do want you guys to not be importing. They can export for now, but let them build those while we decide where we're going to do the labs. Because the first thing, and I'm going to kind of go through this right now. The first thing we're going to do is we're just going to bypass all of this, and we're going to go straight for basic computing and then robotic assembly. We're just going to go right over to here, and to be totally honest and fair, I may even go straight over to the microchip production and then into the data center, just because it's that important when you start to play with this next section, because a lot of this is going to start requiring outside computing power, which is kind of cool. I think it's kind of neat actually that they do this, but we're going to have to be able to get to the edge of, well, the edge of the next bit of technology. So let's see, we should be able to wire that in very quickly if I grab a couple of these. We need flat lift and a flip there, and we should go to what, that level or that level? That level. Okay, you get this, you get this and that, and then we're gonna grab a belt and come from here to there and there and there and there. Nice. And you guys can go ahead and unpause that, and then we can use up some of this leftover stuff that we had from the last run through. That's one of the things you got to do. You got to kind of just put them in a box and use them up first. So we'll let those guys get built, and then I guess while we think about it, I could, again, I still want to try to run 4 labs. Maybe we just run them in a line now, because they haven't really, yeah, maybe we just run them in a line. I was thinking I would do the little 4x4 clover thingy, but let's go see what we have here. Lab. Whoop, I didn't want to do that. Lab there. So if I run them here, kind of like a so, how ugly is that going to be, and is it going to get in the way? Control, clear it, pick it up. You put it in the wrong place. There and there. If I move those down just a little, is that really in the way? I mean, they're going to have to drive straight here. I still don't like the fact that they're doing that. Fairly soon, and I keep saying this, fairly soon, a lot of this production here is going to start jumping this direction, because we're going to find that we're going to be out of various materials, especially if we want to try to run. If we want to try to run 4 of these things, as it sits right now, we're going to be able to run 2 of them for the first little bit to run through the stuff. So I think what we do, I'm going to leave you guys unpaused for now. I would really think, I mean, if I put you over here where you were, all I need is that much space. Where are you here when I do this? That's not terrible. Why don't you do the same thing we did last time then? As long as they can get to this box right here, we're fine. Yeah, no, I think that'll work for now. Cool. Well, let me wire that in, and then we can start building these guys. You unpause, and you... Well, not you. Yeah, we'll do you two. Unpause. Excellent. So you guys can pause now too. And we're now full of iron, which is good because we're going to do a whole bunch more building. All right. So what we're going to do here, since we can only theoretically run 2 of those guys, is I'm going to shut you off and shut you off. They'll finish building that one once we get the parts. We've managed to chew through a reasonable amount. What? Go ahead, finish. Plenty of stuff, plenty of parts. Do it all in one go. I think we managed to... Yeah, we should be pretty well empty over here aside from that. And is this one about done? It's getting there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Over there. Okay. I need to just dump you real quick. Thank you very much. And then we need to turn back on this belt right here so that it goes back to work and starts filling that box back up full of nice green circuits so that we can build more things. Is this empty? Yes. Hit the button, go away, and then you guys go back to work making research for us. And then we should have 2 labs ready to go, playing with a little bit of research. We're actually running a little bit of efficiency, and I actually think, let me see here. How am I doing? You can get deleted for right now. And where are you? How much research efficiency have we got going right now? Industrial research efficiency. I am down on 2. I'm up to Unity because we're not running any labs. I'm going to kick that to 1, and then I'm going to do 1 research and see how that works. So again, the first thing I want to mess with right now, and this is going to cost us, what is it, 3,500 research, is computing. Start and add to queue, and then let's see how this is going to help here. We should be... All right. I paused you. Stop it. Okay, so we should be doing about 66 research a cycle or a minute, or what is this right here? So that's going to take a little while. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to let everything kind of run here for a little bit, and hopefully we don't run into any kind of major issue. I know it's trying to fill this this box right here, so that means a lot of our production is being utilized right now, but that's kind of what I want to do, because we need to test this to make sure it's working. And yes, I did get it all done, and yes, we did get a scrubber built into it, and it's working reasonably well at this point, which is nice. But we're going to have to let things kind of roll. Yeah, she's getting a little chunky. It's fine. So let's see how everything goes, and I will see you guys back when we're done. I guess one thing I did forget to say as well is that I did kind of leave these 2 end buckets in a specific, accessible fashion so that we can use these as our overflows. So I have both of the dirt and the this gravel or this rock container here set to be able to access a mine control tower, which will keep them empty if they are above 220 or 200, like the top 10 or 15%. So essentially what they're doing is once this bucket gets to be a little bit over that line, trucks will grab a little bit of the dirt and haul it over here and dump it into this area where we are slowly filling more goodness in. This likely will be more of our tree farms once we get to that point. Once we get all of this leveled out and flattened this direction, I will probably cut most of this down, and then we will be re-terraforming this spot out here. I might need to go a little bit higher, but I will dump a bunch more gravel and dirt and whatnot out here, and we'll make it so that we can actually grow trees and whatnot right here, because I'd really like it to get a lot bigger than it is right now. But we're good for now. And again, we're kind of just waiting on these guys to finish cleaning things up. So onwards. We're about done with the coal, but they have a lot of coal left still. All right, we're 99% on basic computing, 100%. Let's go. Ding, ding. All right, ding, ding. Cool. So I guess I stated, I think last time, we're going to have to look at building out infrastructure for computing now, or processing and PCs. So let's see, where did that go? That should have gone in here underneath mainframe computer. Mainframe computer is going to give us just a little bit of teraflops in order to be able to get moving forward, and it's going to cost us a whole bunch of the purple and a bunch of the green circuits, or the electronics too. Now, these things don't make a lot. I will say this. I believe if it's like, where is the number? It should say in here how much it is. It's 8 teraflops. That's not a lot, because of the simple fact that once we get to that robotic assembly, whichever one it is, robotic assembly 1, whoop, wrong button, here, you are over here, robotic assembly, or the assembly 4, these things, I forget what they take, 3. So theoretically, we can run 2 of them for every single one of these we can make. These are kind of expensive on parts and people, if you think about it, because you're going to have to, give up 100 construction parts in order to be able to build it, but we will get to the point where we'll do that. So actually, I think what we'll probably do is I'm going to go ahead and smack down, well, we're going to wait, hang on a minute. Before I get excited, I'm going to do 2 of these right down here, just that way they're out of the way, and then we're going to complete the research for the next thing, the robotic assembly here, and then I'm going to build those, and then we're going to move forward. I don't know how far we're going to get. I'm going to try to get this done today. I know it's another 3,500, so we're cranking through it, but it's taking a couple of minutes. Even on high, it's taking a couple of minutes, because I kind of want to at least try to get to right here, and that's going to cost us a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to kind of, again, idle and play a little bit and let things work and kind of fiddle around with this. It's kind of working. The thing I really wish this game had is logistics. Smarts, meaning a way to be able to say when such and such and so is full, stop doing something. I'd love to see logic, I guess, not logistics, logic. And that's the problem when you play with other games that have logic, even in the most basic sense. I mean, there is some logic that exists here, but there's not logic stating, hey, once you hit a certain point in, say, this capacity here, tell this particular mind control tower to stop working. That's kind of the thing that I would like to see. As it is, the game is probably, once you get to mid-game, midpoint past, you're supposed to be running science pretty much non-stop, and you're supposed to just try to keep buckets and storages as full as you possibly can. So you're either going to be doing science non-stop, or you're going to be building non-stop. So I'm not really worried about it right now. We're just going to kind of work through it and see how it goes, and I have to put another one of these down, because I'm storing this stuff right now. It's going to give us a whole bunch of goodies in a little bit. So anyhow, I'll see you all when this one is done. Should be in a little bit. There we go. Finally, robotic assembly, and the next thing for, concrete, amazingly enough, for whatever reason, they decided to give us a different concrete maker at that point. So we have concrete mixer now that is capable of doing double what the original one was, so we've slowly been working that up, and we get the assembly 4s. Assembly 4s require the purple stuff as well as 3 T-flops each to run. Now, as we've stated over here, these guys right here are only good for, well, 8 each. So that means we're not really all that great as far as being able to do things. This is this fun little bottleneck in the middle of the game, and this is kind of, like I said, where the middle of the game kind of starts to get into a where it needs to go, because now what we need to do is we need to concentrate heavily on the next two things that are going to be right here. So I just wanted to get it to that point, because in reality, you can kind of go forward right here if you want to, but it gets incredibly expensive on the people and the parts. However, if we just, again, work our way up to the next thing, which is the data center after microchip production. So microchip production will allow us to produce the parts that we need in order to be able to make the red chips, should say, which will then be a major part of building something that is a lot more easy to manufacture, which are data centers. Data centers will allow us to put in server racks, and the server racks, I think it's every 4 or 12 or something like that, will equal X amount of T-flops per each, or teraflops per each. However, what's interesting is it's a considerable amount more T-flop usable resource than the data centers, the basic computing. So essentially this is at one point where, like, for the majority of the entire game, you don't really have to pick about where you want to go. And I mean, we could be doing these up here if we want to, and we could be doing like the greenhouses, and I probably should actually go ahead and do glass making next, just to be able to make a lot more glass, because I actually, while we were screwing around, I had to upgrade this and then throw down another glass maker, because we were not making enough glass to keep up with everything. But we're currently making enough glass at this point to keep up with everything, and we're going to let it all just kind of fill back up. But as far as these go, if we were to build one or two of these right here, that will give us about 16 T-flops to play with. What's really fun, or what should say, like I said, the thing that we do now is that we need to realize that all of the next little things are going to require T-flops or teraflops. So that means in order to be able to build the next set of chips, in order to be able to do a whole bunch of the fun stuff, in order to be able to actually use these new toys that we just got, the best option is actually to continue researching down this line until you get to right here, and then stop, because then you can actually build the parts that will allow you to be able to make things. But this is going to be unlocked behind something that we need to dig into next time, which is gold, which we haven't gotten into yet. And gold's going to be a process, because it is all way the heck over here, I believe, right there. So we'll start fiddling around with that in the next episode. I am going to blow through these researches. I'm going to just queue them up and let them run, and then we will stop, and I will start accumulating other things. I may actually, like say, kind of kick back here and do a little bit of glass making, because this will give us a little bit more stuff. But yeah, I don't think we're going to do anything else in here until we get the data center and the microchip production going, because this is an incredibly slow and complicated process. So I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have a little bit of fun next time, I think, the next episode. So later.